I want to invite all of the children of the church to come forward and join me up here. If there's any young folks, kids, anybody feels particularly childish today, please join us. Good morning, hey y'all. So when we come together in church, we celebrate, we take communion. How many of you take communion when we do it? How many of you have taken communion before? Raise your hand if you have. I have. I take communion every time we serve it. We try to serve communion to everybody who comes through this church. In some churches, you can't take communion unless the pastor says you're allowed to. Thankfully, this isn't one of those churches. But a lot of times in our congregation, we try to make sure that everybody feels like they can participate. Right now, some of the older kids are going through confirmation. Do you guys know what confirmation is? Well, it's it's like a special class that they take, and they learn about the history of this church. And when they're done, if they choose, they become full members of the church. They can vote. They can serve on the church's church council, to do all kinds of cool stuff together. They can even be the moderator of a church if they want to. I've never seen that happen, but I've heard about it. Yes, they could be a dinosaur scientist if they wanted to, absolutely. But we do that because in our church, we try to make sure that the doors are open to everybody. We're learning right now together about Jesus' teachings. And the important thing to remember is that Jesus wants to know that God is going to make sure that we're taken care of and that we have everything that we need. It's important to remember that because it's easy to forget it out there in the world. Have you ever heard somebody say that's not fair? Yeah, I hear that a lot. And you know, the funny thing is that doesn't go away when you become a grown-up. People still get frustrated when they feel like things aren't fair. But Jesus is trying to teach us that even though you may feel that things aren't fair in your life, God is still going to take care of you and that everything is going to be okay. And plants. Yeah. So let's go ahead. I think for our blessing today, I just want us to remember that everything's going to be okay. Is that sufficient? I think so. Let's raise a hand in blessing. And then after we're done, do we have worship centers today? Yes, we do. How are we departing this morning? Do you know?
We're going to walk like a duck.
Okay, I'll let you tell them that. So we'll make sure. So let's get the blessing, and then we'll figure out how we're going to leave the sanctuary today. Repeat after me. This week, we will remember that everything's going to be okay. Amen. All right, so we're going to waddle.
We're going to waddle like a duck, and those in rich class, you will be joining us in worship center today because you're here.
Okay. Could we waddle like a duck out of the sanctuary? As you do. Whang, whang.